The first month of the season is in the books. Are the Cardinals better? Are they worse? Or right where we expected them to be at this point of the season?
You are Locked On Cardinals, your daily St. Louis Cardinals podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey there, Cardinals fans. I'm JD Hafford, and I'm your host for Locked On Cardinals, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, covering your team every day. You can follow me on X at JD Sports Radio. You can follow the podcast at LO_Cardinals. We're on YouTube. Make sure you like, subscribe, and comment. Hit that notification button so you don't miss anything. Also available on TikTok and Instagram at Locked On Cardinals. This right here is a show serving Cardinal Nation and giving the best fans in baseball all of the info about the birds on the bat. Today's episode being brought to you by Monarch Money. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use the code Locked On MLB at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. So after 32 games, St. Louis Cardinals are currently 4 games under 500 at 14-18. They're currently in 4th place in the division, ahead of only the Pirates, who are 12-20 and are 5 games back of first place Chicago. The Cubs continue to play outstanding baseball. They're 19-13 on the year. They've had a really tough schedule so far, too, which makes it all that more impressive. Followed by the Reds, who are at 17-15, with whom the Cardinals just split a 4-game series with. And then you got the Brewers at 16-16. So with May starting up and a new series beginning at home against the Mets on Friday, I thought, you know what? It's a good time to kind of take a look at everything, evaluate what we've seen so far from this team this season. Put up a poll question on X asking you about how you felt about what you've seen from the team so far. Do you think they've been overachieving? Do you think they're right where they should be and where you thought they'd be? Or do you think they are underachieving so far this year? And a majority of the votes, we'll double check it since, it's been up for a while now, but the majority of votes have been, and they still are, where I thought they'd be. 65% of the votes so far say this is where I thought they'd be. 28.5% are saying that they're underachieving, and then you've got 6.3 who think that 14-18 is overachieving for the Cardinals this year. So I guess they thought pretty poorly about what this team was going to be this year. And I'll be honest, like when I look at this record at 14-18. And maybe you can call me crazy, but I feel like this team has actually played better than that. They don't feel like a 14-18 team to me. And I know that Thursday was sucked. You know, it was a rainy, crappy day, and it just did not go the Cardinals' way. You're going to see that from time to time. But so we've all got kind of like that was ugly. But it doesn't feel to me as that they played as bad as this record looks. So then I started moving around stats and looking at things and doing some research. And, you're going to see some of this. You're going to be like, well, how are they 14-18? Now, the obvious issue we all know has been playing on the road. A nightmare. The splits are pretty nasty. Home record of 10-5 while on the road. They are 4-13. And like I said, that's after getting 2 wins in Cincinnati this week. The road has been brutal for the club so far. We're going to start with the offensive numbers because they're a little more fun. Because the difference from last year, where the team did win 83 games, and what that offense looked like and what this offense looks like has been night and day. And you're going to get bad days. Every offense goes through them. It just happens. Thursday was a bad day for the Cardinals offense. Wednesday was a good day in the grand scheme of things. I know there was some lulls there in the second game, but you saw some firepower out of the offense. Overall this year, they're hitting .256 as a team. That's 5th in Major League Baseball. And it's behind some pretty freaking good teams. The Yankees, the Cubs, the Padres, the Dodgers. How much money have those teams spent? I know the Cubs didn't go out and spend a buttload or anything like that, but look at the payrolls. Look at those rosters. I mean, those guys are supposed to be up there, right? Not bad company. All 4 of those teams have 18 or more wins already this season. Again, Cardinals are down here at 14. Slugging. The Cardinals do dip a bit, down to 10th in the league, which, I mean, that's not awful. by any means. It's their lack of home runs that hurt that particular category. It's been kind of an issue. Only 30 of them so far this season, which puts them at 17th. But you don't have to hit home runs to win. They certainly do help. I know that. I get that. They rank 8th in on-base percentage at .330. You love to see that. They're getting on base and creating run-scoring opportunities. Obviously, very, very important. The teams ahead of them in on-base percentage: the Yankees, the Cubs, Mariners, Dodgers, Phillies, Diamondbacks, Red Sox, all playoff caliber teams. All of them have 17 or more wins so far this year. Again, Cardinals are at 14. OPS. Cardinals are 10th in the league at 727. Teams ahead of them: your usual suspects: Yankees, Cubs, Dodgers, D-backs, Mariners, Red Sox, Mets, and Tigers. All of them playoff caliber teams and having tremendous seasons so far. Runs scored. Cardinals are 11th. They're 4th overall in hits. 4th. They're tied for 2nd in the league in doubles. So even though they're not getting the home runs, they're shooting gaps. They're putting them down the line. They're getting extra base hits. They're just one back of the Red Sox in doubles. They're in the top 10 in walks. Thank you, Lars Nootbaar. But also, you've seen them be more patient at the plate. They're in the bottom half in strikeouts, so they're not having empty at-bats as much this year. They're 11th in steals. Thank you, Victor Scott II, who is 4th in the league, 10 of those. Remember last year, what was the big problem for the Cardinals? They would get some guys on base, right? Nobody could knock them in. Runners in scoring position. Couldn't figure it out. This year, the Cardinals are batting .268 with runners in scoring position, which is tied with the Brewers for 5th in Major League Baseball. So when they are on, they're putting the ball in play. They're driving guys in. But let's look at, here's where, things start to take a turn, because you look at what they do at home and then you look at what they do away. And you can see why the records are as bad as they are. Like, I shouldn't say as bad, as different as they are. At home, the St. Louis Cardinals, your St. Louis Cardinals, lead the league in batting average. They're hitting .289 at Busch Stadium this year. They're tied with the Braves. Braves are also at .289. They're 2nd in the league in on-base percentage. This is at home. They're 6th in slugging. They're 5th in OPS. When the boys are at home, even though it's a hitter's ballpark, they're getting the job done offensively. Imagine how much better they'd be if more fans came out. I'm not going to tell you how to spend your money. I'm just telling you. I had a good time watching them the last 4 days. Except, Thursday was rough. Thursday was rough. That was rain delay. It wasn't fun. But then you go on the road. You go on the road with the Cardinals, and it's a totally different story. They're hitting .228 away from Busch Stadium. That's 15th in the league. 61-point difference. It's huge. The OPP. Did I say PP? Not OPP. The OBP. Dips from 360 to 304. That's 14th overall. Slugging falls from 449 to 352, which drops them to 21st. And then the OPS, it goes from 809 to 657, which goes down to 16th. Their OPS plus at home is 121. Remember, league average is at 100. 121. Outstanding. It falls below average to 94 on the road. So it's a drastic drop-off in how they hit the ball at home compared to the road. Can I explain why it's that way? No. They're just more comfortable at Busch Stadium, I guess. I don't have a real answer for you. On the road, they've also, they faced the Mets in 4, which, their pitching staff is outstanding. We'll talk about that later since they're in town. But it hasn't worked out as well for them on the road. The DH position continues to be in black hole in this lineup, the DH. And it doesn't matter who it is. It's just whatever hitter is the DH that day, they're going to suck. That's really all there is to it. Because the DH for the Cardinals this season is hitting .198, 0 home runs and 2 RBIs with 31 strikeouts and just 13 walks. The Cardinals are basically sending 8 people to the plate, and the rest of the league gets 9. So we gotta figure out some way to get somebody to step up in that DH role. And maybe when Ivan Herrera comes back, we will see him used there more with Pages just catching. But you know how it is when you take a risk when you have both your catchers starting. Like, that's not ideal. You don't want to do that, because if one of them goes down, you're in trouble. But perhaps that's something they look into. What are the odds that one or both are going to get hurt? I mean, it happened in Boston. Herrera got hurt, and you were in trouble. But overall, despite what we saw from them yesterday, which was an ugly day, the offense has been better than at least I thought it would be. And I'm guessing many of you didn't think it was going to be this good either. And we're still waiting for more. There's more potential in this lineup. There's more thump there. Jordan Walker, Nolan Gorman, Alec Burleson. They're still waiting for those 3 guys to get going. They haven't. You see a little bit from Jordan here and there, and then you see some really, really bad at-bats. But then you see him, rip a liner 113 off the bat, and you're like, it's there. How do we unlock it? How do we keep it coming? Nolan Gorman, 1 home run this year. Had the injury, which set him back a little bit, but we're waiting on him. Alec Burleson doesn't have any home runs yet this year. Waiting for him to get going. Heck, you're still waiting for Wilson Contreras to actually get hot. He's been better, but we haven't seen him go on a tear yet. And, we're in the second month of the season. We think it's going to happen. History shows us that it should happen at some point. So we're waiting on that. We're waiting for Ivan Herrera to get back in this lineup. Mason Wynn also had an injury along with Gorman, so they haven't been around the whole time. I've been more than impressed with this offense so far. Great job by Brant Brown. Great job by the Cardinals for hiring. And whatever they're doing, keep it up. Not every day is going to be perfect. That's part of the game of baseball. But more times than not, you're seeing really good at-bats and you're seeing a really good offense out there on the field. The pitching staff is next. All right, we're going to talk about the rotation. We'll talk about the bullpen. And I think you're going to be surprised at the numbers that the St. Louis Cardinals starters have put up so far. I think you're going to be surprised. We'll get into it next on Locked On Cardinals. Did you know your Fire TV is also an Xbox? Turn any TV into your gaming and entertainment hub with Fire TV Stick 4K devices. No console required. Just grab your paired controller, subscribe, or sign into Xbox Game Pass Ultimate with EA Play included, and you're ready to play. You can dive into hundreds of premium titles from EA Sports College Football, which I was so glad it came back this year, and I'm excited about the new one coming out. It's going to be awesome. Madden still rolling around. They did the draft promo here recently for Madden. Maybe you're not a sports guy. You could be a Call of Duty Black Ops person. That's fine. Bottom line is you can jump into them as easily as you stream your favorite shows. It's gaming made simple, and it's all on your Fire TV. They've got the latest technology for elevated playing to get you smoother, more responsive gameplay with lightning fast speeds that you need to stay competitive. If you're going to take it to the next level, it's got to be on point, right? With 4K streaming, you can watch more than 1.5 million movies and TV episodes from your favorite subscribe services, Netflix, Prime Video, Disney Plus, Max, and a whole lot more. Head to Amazon.com/Fire TV Locked On to get started. Xbox Game Pass Ultimate subscription and compatible controller required. Available on select devices, including Fire TV Stick 4K 2nd Gen, Fire TV Stick 4K Max 1st and 2nd Gen, and Fire TV Cube 3rd Gen. Thanks for making Locked On Cardinals your first listen every day. Leave your comments on YouTube as well as on X anytime you want. Your feedback is always welcome and encouraged. I know we got a lot of feedback about Thursday's game, and people were not all that impressed with the lack of effort and energy that seemed to go into the game on Thursday. I felt it too. There's going to be days like that. It does happen in a long 162 game season, but hopefully they'll be back and ready to rock this weekend. They're back home. New York Mets are in town. And if there's one thing that when it comes to the Mets, good pitching, right? That's what we're going to see this weekend. And so far, the Cardinals have been pretty good when it comes to their starting rotation. Good pitching often beats good hitting. For years, you've seen some good offenses thrive, but the team fails overall because the pitching staff isn't any good. The starting pitching for the St. Louis Cardinals has been better than most people think. When I went and looked at the numbers here, I was pleasantly surprised at how much better they were than I thought they were going to be going into it. The Cardinals starters have an ERA of 3.92. And I know we're going to get people who are like, it's got to be in the twos to be effective. I get it. It's not the best in the world, but it does put them smack in the middle of all of Major League Baseball. They're 15th. That's where it ranks. So it's not lowest crap. It's not upper echelon. I know that. Middle of the road. They are getting length from the starters, though. 172 in a third inning so far, which is tied for the 8th most in the league. And despite throwing more innings than most teams, they're 15th in hits against. 153 and 172 in a third innings. That's pretty good. They've allowed 75 earned runs, which again puts them right in the middle of the league at 15. They've allowed only 16 home runs so far, which is tied for the 4th lowest total among starters. Didn't see that coming, did you? I didn't. I sure didn't. Their whip, for those who don't know, that's walks and hits per innings pitched. 4th lowest whip in the league. The batting average against is at 235, which ranks 10th. Again, this is for the starting rotation for anybody who's made a start. If there's something to really kind of bitch about when it comes to our starting rotation, it's the lack of strikeouts, lack of swing and miss. Ranked 26th in the league there with 128. But on the other side of it, they aren't walking people. They're not putting themselves in bad positions often. It does happen. 2 guys in particular have been having those issues from the rotation in Fetty and Palante. But as a whole, they've walked 47 hitters, which is tied for the 3rd lowest amount in the league. They also lead the league in groundouts, 184 of them. You've got some good sinker ball guys, and they're making the other team hit it on the ground. And you got an infield. Arenado, really, really good. Mason Wynn, really, really good. Donovan and Gorman. Gorman, isn't phenomenal by any means, but he's not killing you at second base. And then Wilson Contreras, if he doesn't have to throw the ball, he's been pretty good over at first base, right? Miles Michaelis had that horrid game in Boston, right? Really inflated the numbers for himself and the staff because of that particular game. Same can be said about the last start by Eric Fetty. It inflated things, but they all count, so you can't dismiss it. But Miles Michaelis, last 2 outings against the Braves and the Reds, neither of them considered offensive slouches. 11 and a third shutout innings, 9 hits, 2 walks, 6 strikeouts. He's always going to give up hits. He's a pitch to contact guy. It's going to happen. Balls are going to find holes. But whatever went wrong in Boston, he's moved on from it and has gotten better. He's pitched into the 5th inning in every game except that one in Boston, and has gotten into the 6th in 3 of the other 5. People like to make fun of he eats innings. Look at him go. He's kind of doing what he's supposed to be doing. Are you expecting Miles Michaelis to go 7-8 innings in his outings? No. Because eventually when the lineup comes around by that 3rd time, that's when, teams can hit him a little bit better. Eric Fetty has had 2 fugly, and I mean fugly outings. But in the other 4 starts, he's allowed just 4 runs in 24 innings and has gone at least 6 innings in 4 of his starts. He's got 4 quality starts. Needs to cut down on the walks, as I mentioned. That's been an issue for him. And it's not like he's crazy wild and throwing things to the backstop or anything like that. It's not like he's wearing out the catchers, but he's missing his spots. People aren't chasing, and it's putting guys on base, which eventually will cost you. It's only so many times you can get away with it before you get burned. Sonny Gray, 3-0, has given you 6 or more innings in 4 of his 6 starts, has only allowed more than 3 runs once. And that was the game against the Angels when they hit the grand slam off him. He's had 3 straight quality starts. quietly. I feel like nobody's talking about how good Sonny Gray's been. Has he been exceptional and amazing? No, but he's been really good. Matthew Liberatore's move to the rotation has been a success so far. You don't hear people whining and crying about that. I was the one that wanted to keep him in the bullpen. I was like, oh, if you move him, what are you going to do about what's going on in the bullpen? But for the future of Matthew Liberatore in this franchise, they're like, let's go. He needs to be a starter. We need him to succeed as a starter. So far, so good. Sucked yesterday because of the rain-shortened outing. That was a real bummer for him because outside of the home run ball, he was doing fine. 4 quality starts among his 5 full games that he started. The only one that wasn't a quality start was the game in Pittsburgh, where he gave up 5, was having trouble getting righties out in that game. Still struck out 7, I think, in that game. So it wasn't like he was trash. He had like 1 really bad inning. Steven Matz, at his 2 starts, has got an ERA of 1, 11 strikeouts, no walks, and 9 innings as a starter for Steven Matz. Stay healthy. Stay healthy. Andre Palante, moments where he's been really good. You see him breaking bats and getting a lot of ground balls, and he's not an easy at bat. Problem with Andre has been being consistent with the zone. Cut down on the walks as well, just like Fetty. But hopefully he'll get back to being the guy that we saw last year when he gets all of these control issues figured out. Just having trouble, in some games, finding his spots. Throws pretty hard. A lot of movement going on there, and sometimes it gets away from him. But you're trying to, develop this and make him so when he finds that balance and is able to be more consistent, how good is he going to be? Because when he's on, dude, like they're just smashing it right into the ground, and the Cardinals are like, thank you. We'll take all these groundouts. He's one of the reasons why they lead the league in groundouts. So offense good, right? Offense good. Starting pitching, pretty good, right? I think we can agree on that. Hide your kids. Hide your wife. Because we're going into the bullpen next, and that's where things get a little bit scary. That's coming your way next on Locked On Cardinals. Ever check your bank account and wonder, where did all my money go? Between dining out, online shopping, and entertainment, it's very easy to lose track. That's where Monarch Money comes in and becomes your personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control over your finances. And Monarch Money is not just a budgeting app. It is not. It is a complete financial command center. You'll be able to track all your accounts, your investments, your spending, and do it all in one place so you can stop just managing your money and actually start building some wealth. Eventually you're going to want to have some stuff saved up so you can go on vacations and go do a lot of cool things with your life. And, you might be wasting a lot of time on deliveries, food deliveries, anything, Amazon, any stuff getting shipped to the house. Now you can budget smarter and save more and keep an eye on how much you're actually spending there. And instead of juggling multiple apps, you just use Monarch Money to check your finances, track your spending, and even plan long-term goals. So take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use the code LOCKEDONMLB at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com. The code is LOCKEDONMLB, LOCKEDONMLB, for half off your first year. Thanks for making Locked On Cardinals your first listen today. For your second listen, check out the all-new Locked On MLB Game Night. Every game, every night, all season long. Get local analysis on a national scale. Find MLB Game Night on Locked On MLB on YouTube or wherever you listen to your podcast. Lindsey Crosby and myself did last night's games together, and some entertaining stuff going around in the world of baseball. And we get to check in with each Locked On host who covers that particular area to give you the inside scoop of what's going on with each team and each game. So it's really good stuff. So if you haven't checked it out yet, make sure you do that. All right, last year the Cardinals bullpen helped out tremendously with any shortcomings that the rotation had. People were not happy with the rotation last year. With Miles Michaelis, not having a good year. Lance Lynn, Kyle Gibson, Sonny Gray wasn't what they thought he should be. There were some issues. And the bullpen helped hide some of those problems because they were really good last year. most of the time, Ollie could depend on them to whoever it was that would come in. Normally it was, Kittredge and JoJo and Liberatore. And then, of course, Helsley was amazing last year. And if you got to the sixth inning, chances were the Cardinals were going to have a good chance to win. Has not gone quite as smoothly this year. Relievers for the Cardinals have a combined ERA of 4.69, which would make Chip Carey smile because he likes to point out when anything is at the number 69 during the telecasts. I don't know if he did that stuff when he was in Atlanta, but he does it with his Cardinals, and it's a little weird. And that, by the way, 4.69, seventh worst ERA in all of baseball among relief pitchers. They've had 13 save opportunities. They've only got 6 saves as a group. That is 7 blown saves already in the first month. That is unacceptable. 2 by Helsley. Ryan Fernandez has 1, now in the minors. Kyle Leahy's got 1. Phil Maton's got 1. John King's got 1. And Steven Matz has 1. Teams are hitting 241 against them, which is not horrendous, but it does rank them in the bottom 12 in the league. Like, it's not good. Walks have been a real issue for this group. 48 total. That is tied for the 6th most in the league among relievers. And they have the 3rd lowest strikeout total at 93. So that is not a good ratio whatsoever. Only the Royals and the Reds have less strikeouts from their relief pitchers. Let's start with Ryan Helsley. Ryan Helsley has not been the guy we saw last year. He hasn't. 10 innings of work, 10 strikeouts, 8 walks. Now, 4 of those walks did come in that nightmare in Boston, but so did 2 of his strikeouts. So if we take that away, he's still at 8 strikeouts and 4 walks in his other 9 appearances. That's a 1.25 K-walk ratio. Last year, he was at 3.43. He was not putting on as many guys as he's doing now. It has been a problem. For whatever reason, he has not been able to come into games and just mow people down like he's usually walking a guy. And that's no good, especially if you're in tight one-run ball games, which the Cardinals tend to get into. Kyle Leahy and Phil Maton, I'm not going to bitch and moan about anything with them. They've been very, very good. And every reliever is going to have a bad day. To expect them all to be perfect each and every time is ludicrous. Not good. But overall, Kyle Leahy has been incredible. 15 appearances. He's been scored upon just 3 times so far this year. The ERA is at a sparkling 1.47. Outstanding. And you could see it this spring how good he was. And you're like, look at him. He's got a little giddy up this year. Looking good. So Kyle Leahy, beautiful. Keep it up. Phil Maton has only been scored upon in 2 of his 15 appearances. Had the really rough game in Atlanta. Other than that, no earned runs have scored upon Phil Maton except in that game. None. Been incredibly good for this team. And I like that it's like he's on like a revenge tour around the league because nobody would sign him. I'm glad he came to the Cardinals. But after those guys, it's been really dicey. We know about the struggles with Ryan Fernandez. No need to kick dirt on him right now. He's getting sorted out in Memphis, we hope. And I hope he does get it right and comes back because he was a big piece of why the bullpen was good last year. A surprising piece as the Rule 5 pick. But we were expecting a whole lot better than what we got this year. So hopefully he gets it straightened out. JoJo Romero has been really disappointing so far. 7 walks, 7 Ks in 10 1/3 innings. ERA is over 6. Instrumental in the success last year of this bullpen. Was really good this spring too. And for whatever reason, has not been able to find the consistency yet in 2025. Last 2 outings have been better after 3 straight games where things were not so good. Some duds there. So got to get him right. He's such a big part of this that if you get JoJo back to what he was doing last year, you're talking. Now you're talking because you need that left-hander. John King, 16 hits in 10 2/3 innings so far this year. Opponents are hitting 366 against him when they put the ball in play, and he's not a strikeout guy. So it's going to go in play more times than not. So hopefully some regression in that number at some point. Chris Roycroft, he was having a rough time. Fernandez, as we mentioned, was having the rough time. Both of those guys are in Memphis right now. Matt Swanson was great in his first 3 outings. A little trouble on Thursday, but it's bound to happen. Again, weather was weird. You had the delay. He was coming in after Libby's outing got cut short because of the rain and just had some issues with his control. Couldn't get the breaking ball over. So if he can continue to contribute like he was in the first 3 outings, maybe he helps settle things down some. He's had really good numbers in the minors. Maybe he takes over the Ryan Fernandez spot if Fernandez can't figure things out. Riley O'Brien, he's lower on the totem pole here in your bullpen. Not every dude is going to be lights out. He's got the stuff, has yet to find the success at the major league level that he has in the minors. Had another rough go on Thursday. But if he can be consistent, that's the real issue with him too, is like you see the movement and you see the velo and you're like, ooh. And when he can't throw strikes, it's an issue. The Cardinals can't throw Leahy and Maton every day. Their arm would fall off. Unless we can teach them how to do what they do left-handed as well. These guys got to get better around them. They got to throw strikes. I'm going to keep harping on that because that's the big thing. Relievers who come in and walk people are a manager's worst nightmare. It's a fan's worst nightmare because you're just like, bro, you have the lead. Just throw it over the plate. Make them hurt you. Make them beat you. Don't beat yourself. There's only so much Ollie can do when he's only got 2 guys he can trust in the bullpen. As much as people want to harp on Ollie and get mad at him and chirp him for his use of the bullpen, he needs these guys to be better. Okay? Romero and King got to figure out how to get a right-hander out once in a while. Their lefties, the lefty specialist role went bye-bye long ago when they made that 3-batter minimum rule. So they're going to have to face right-handed hitters, and Jesus take the wheel when a right-hander comes up to the plate against either of those guys. Righties are hitting .414 against King, .348 against Romero. They were hitting .357 against Roycroft, .333 against Fernandez. Hence why those guys are no longer here. King and Romero aren't going anywhere. These are the guys. Like, they just got to get better. They're very good against lefties. Like, both of them, very good against lefties, which they're supposed to be. But they got to figure out a way to get a right-hander out here and there. Because they got to face 3 guys. Ollie has figured out that his best path to get to Helsley is through Leahy and Maton and a sprinkle of JoJo and King against those lefties and praying they don't have to face a righty. It's a work in progress, but you can see how they're trying to massage this thing and figure it out. Mets in town tonight. And they took 4 straight from the Cardinals in New York, where the Mets are 13-3 at home. They're 8-8 on the road. They've actually lost 2 in a row at home. Like, that's before they started this trip where they're coming to St. Louis, which shows you how dominant they had been there. They were 13-1 at home until those 2 games. The Mets pitching has been otherworldly so far this season. Their starters are a league-leading 2.24 ERA. Relievers are at 3.26, which is like 8th. So the runs aren't going to be easy. No matter how good the Cardinals offense has been, it's not going to be easy. So be prepared for that when you watch this weekend, that, don't try to get on the Cardinals hitters too much because these guys are really good. Friday, it's Sonny Gray against Clay Holmes. Holmes gave up 1 run over 6 innings in their first matchup against the Cardinals. Saturday, you've got Eric Fetty against Tyler McGill, who they didn't see in the last series, but he's been incredible. Sporting a 1.74 ERA, 39 punchies, and 31 innings pitched. He's very, very good. Then Sunday, the Cardinals will start Andre Palante. The Mets haven't officially named their starter yet. It was supposed to be Griffin Canning. I'm glad it's not because Griffin Canning dominates the Cardinals. He's been bumped to Monday, and the reports are that Blade Tidwell, that's a real person, not an actor, Blade Tidwell is going to make his major league debut. Got a kind of an adult film actor name there, Blade Tidwell. Anyway, he's their number 15 prospect, according to MLB Pipeline, had an ERA of 5 and 6 starts at AAA Syracuse. Cardinals just faced one of the Red Stop pitching prospects and beat the snot out of them on Wednesday. Hopefully they can do the same to Blade Tidwell, who's starring at a XXX theater near you. All right. Thanks for making Locked On Cardinals your first listen every day. If you haven't already, please give us a follow on X at @LO_Cardinals and at JD Sports Radio. We're on TikTok and Instagram at Locked On Cardinals. Like, subscribe on YouTube. Help our channel, our love for the Cardinals grow. Getting close to 12,000 subscribers. It would be really awesome of you if we could get there soon. Anywho, you're the best fans of baseball for a reason. We'll see you next time on Locked On Cardinals. Enjoy the series this weekend.